Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moon Light, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, and by Golf.
On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
A high fly ball left center field. Launched that one way back there. And that ball is gone. George Springer, his second home run of the year. That'll make it 1-0 Toronto. And he hit a monster shot. Bregman will backhand that at third. Cross the diamond. Gonzalez couldn't scoop it. And a runner will be safe and holding at first. Now, Red Sox should be out of the inning, but now base runner for Toronto.
Alex Bregman will tell you he's got to make this 10 times out of 10.
His third error of the year. Ground ball right side. Campbell fires and throws it wide. And another run is in on the misplay by Campbell. That'll put runners at second and third as well. 2-0 Toronto. Well, the Red Sox have had a couple of sloppy innings this season and having one right now at a crucial moment. 2-0. 3-1. And puts him on ball 4. And here comes the manager. So not the night anticipated for Garrett Crochet. 1-2 from Kelly. Up the middle, through for a base hit. Straws in to score. Heineman right behind him. And Toronto leads it 4-0.
Ugly sixth inning at Fenway Park last night. Red Sox lose to the Toronto Blue Jays. 6-1 was the final score. We're going to have to hustle tonight, though. We only have a half hour, done at 6:30. Celtics pregame takes over from there. Grandy and Max, they'll take it right up to tip-off, 7 o'clock against the Orlando Magic right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. In the interim, Jared Carrabis has joined us as he does every Wednesday. Jared, presented by Blue Moon Light, a light and refreshing citrus wheat beer with only 95 calories. Brewed with real tangerine peel for a subtle sweetness and smooth finish. Enjoy Blue Moon Light today. Jared, what's wrong with the Red Sox?
You know what my favorite thing about doing this show is?
What
I'm
is
asking this I'm asking Jimmy. You can wait a second, Tony. You know what my favorite thing is, Jimmy, about this show?
There's a lot of things, but it's working with Tony Maz is the main one.
So Tony will send me a text message before every single show and be like, "What's on your mind?" And I asked him a question back. You know what he did? Didn't answer.
I just
didn't
did.
answer.
He ghosted you.
You just did now?
I did. Well, yeah, Jared,
Okay.
I know you will find this hard to believe. I have live programming from 2 to 6, so I don't check my phone every 5 minutes like everyone under the age of 40.
Sure it is. You know what's on my mind, Tony?
What's on your mind?
I already know where you're going to go with this. I feel like you're going to slander the good name of the Boston Red Sox infield. I know you're probably going to point out Alex Bregman's defensive miscues, but what you're not going to account for, and I already know this, is the fact that it was 26 degrees last night. Like this last night's conditions were similar to the folks that were on the Titanic. Like these people were freezing at Fenway Park last night. And I bet you're going to look at that and be like, same old Red Sox. See, they didn't learn anything. The base running, the defensive miscues. Is that where you were going to go, Tony?
No, I didn't say anything about the same old Red Sox, but the Toronto Blue Jays, did heat waves roll in every half inning to keep the Jays warm last night?
Well, I didn't say. I mean, what's his name? Lucas. He was very good last night. You know, I think that was, you have to account for the factors on both sides of the ball here. But am I going to look at Garrett Crochet's performance and be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Am I going to look at the defense and the throwing errors and be like, oh no, they can't play defense? No, I think the human element matters, and I know that's not sexy sports talk radio takes, but it's just the fact of the matter.
Okay, so Jared, nobody said they can't play defense. What we said was, after 12 games, this is where they are. They are 6-6. They lead the major leagues in errors. Alex Bregman is on pace for 40.5 errors. 40. I'll be nice to you, and I'll round down to 40 instead of 41. So he's on pace for 40 errors. They lead the majors in errors at second base, or Christian Campbell does. It's only 2 through 12 games, but honestly, I think he caught a couple of breaks in there. The bottom line is this: in that 6th inning last night, they kind of unraveled. And I recognize that it is April 9th. I recognized, or I do recognize that they have only played in 12 games. But going into that game last night, Garrett Crochet, Easton Lucas, 26 degrees, as you pointed out. One guy's a power pitcher, one guy really isn't. Who would you have put your money on last night?
I would have put it on Crochet, Tony.
Okay.
But again, third coldest game in Fenway. People were like, well, they got to play in cold weather because it's cold in October. It's not that cold. It was the third coldest game in Fenway Park history. Our pal Ian Brown pointed that out via Baseball Reference.
So again, but I come back to the original thing, and which is the Blue Jays didn't have to play in that?
I'm not saying they didn't. The Red Sox did not win the baseball game, but I think it's more so. I'm not making an excuse for the loss. I am, however, saying that's not who Garrett Crochet is. The walks and the misses, even in the first inning when the bases were loaded and I forget who was up, but he punched someone out looking. That was a ball too. So they kind of escaped even an uglier game there with the misses by Garrett Crochet and some of the defensive miscues. Yeah, but I think if it were 60 degrees outside, it's a different ball game.
So again, but this is the part I can't get past, is that it was also 26 for Toronto. So this is what, like, to me, the loss is the loss. And the performance was a performance. And you want to know what really bugged me about it, Jared? Honestly, the whole inning, what bugged me most was the pitch that Crochet threw to Springer for the home run. Now, again, maybe he didn't have a feel for the ball last night. I totally allow it. But I would also tell you, Easton Lucas didn't have any trouble. He pitched an excellent game.
Yeah, it was a cutter up. And you got to give credit to George Springer. It wasn't like, I mean, I know that since he's been in Toronto, he hasn't been anything to write home about, but he's gotten off to a hot start. He threw him a cutter up and he hit it into the stands in center field. Yeah,
it was a bad pitch, and then they unraveled. So it's the unraveling, Jared, to me, that to me that was a game you got to win. Toronto's a division opponent. The Red Sox have had this stretch early in the year where, frankly, if they don't hit, and I mean really hit, they don't win. They either seem to score 8 runs or 1. And so I don't like the trick-or-treat nature of it. You got to find ways to win other games. If I'm going to find anything that I'm critical of in the early part of the year, aside from the pitching and the defense, it's going to be the inconsistent up-and-down nature of the offense. So just quickly in that 6th inning, before I ask you a question, it's 1-1 to Springer in a scoreless game with 1 out in the 6th. He throws a horrible pitch, Crochet does, and gives up a home run. Then Rafaela makes a nice catch in center field, running in. Second out, he's 0-1 on Davis Schneider when Bregman makes the error. Then this, to me, is where Crochet let them down. All of a sudden, he just completely lost it. Miles Straw, 4-pitch walk, another grounder to second that Campbell threw away. So again, he didn't get any help there either. But then after the Campbell error, a 5-pitch walk. So 2 errors in the inning, and the guy who's supposed to be the ace of your staff throws 8 balls and 9 pitches to the next batters, and he's out of the game. Then the thing gets away from him. It's 4-zip, which on a night like last night might as well be 10-zip. So you and I can disagree on the what last night tells you. 6-6 after 12. Give me your assessment of the Red Sox after 12 games.
I think they kind of are essentially who we thought they would be to this point so far. I think I'm a little underwhelmed by the pitching staff, or at least the rotation, so to speak. I am throwing out the Crochet start last night. I know that, that's probably not what you're going to do. I'm going to give him a pass.
It's okay.
I'm going to give him a pass for last night. But I guess the rotation beyond Crochet is kind of, I'm still waiting to see it. I think that they're better than what they've shown us so far. Again, it's 12 games. But the offense it's been feast or famine. And I think that the water's going to find its level there. I don't know if you agree with me or not. But April games suck, Tony. You know this, covering the game for as long as you have. April sucks in the Northeast. I think once the weather starts to warm up, we'll see more consistency with the offense, which this team's going to hit. I don't think that's many people are going to disagree with that. They're going to hit. But they can't be 18 runs one night and 1 or 2 runs the next 2 games after that. They can't be that.
So it's just the last couple of games, last night in particular, Jared, I was encouraged by what I had seen since the 1-4 start. I thought they were starting to find their stride a little bit. They were playing, and they were producing. And certainly they had the Cardinals in here over the weekend and a chance to beat up on that pitching staff, which they did. I just did not expect 2 losses in 2 nights against the Blue Jays in the way they happened. And I'll give Toronto the first one. They had the better pitcher on the mound. They had Barrios. The Red Sox had Fitz. I'll take Toronto in that matchup. Toronto's got talent on that roster. They've underachieved. I think it's a talented group, but they haven't won, at least not consistently. But last night, I was expecting a bounce back. And it was a scoreless game in the 6th, and it was apparent to me at that stage that this was going to be a 1-0, 2-1 game. It was going to be a low-scoring game. And they let a bad pitching mistake, but again, it was a mistake, and good hitters hit mistakes. I'm not saying he threw the pitch on purpose, but it was a horrible pitch. Springer hits it for a homer. You got to tighten it up there and keep it at 1-0, and they didn't. And there have been a few ugly innings here early in the year, and division opponent, you had the better pitcher, a power pitcher on a cold night, and they fell apart. Anyway, 617-779-0985. We'll take your calls. We'll get Jared's continued thoughts on the Red Sox. Alex Cora addressed the cold weather as well. We'll do all, and we'll get Jared's initial thoughts on the Red Sox documentary too that came out on Netflix, The Clubhouse. We'll do all that when we come back in a shortened baseball hour.
3-1. And puts him on ball 4. So that loads up the bases. In the inning, Springer with a home run. Red Sox have made 2 errors. And here comes the manager. So not the night anticipated for Garrett Crochet. He really did scuffle gripping the baseball far more than his opponent, the 28-year-old Easton Lucas. And he leaves behind bases jammed and 2 down. Kelly coming on, 2-0 Toronto.
What did you think with Garrett tonight?
He did a good job. Tough conditions. George hits a homer, then we don't make plays, and that was it. But he did more than enough. Yeah, did a good job.
Get on the show tonight, or you want to talk to us and to myself and Jared Carrabis, 617-779-0985. We're only going until 6:30. Celtics are playing Orlando tonight. Pre-game, again, just coming up in about 8 minutes. And then the game itself right here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. I should add that Jaylen Brown not playing tonight against the Orlando Magic. He is also out. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Derek White, Drew Holiday, all out.
Yep, the Celtics' right? Big 6.
And Porzingis as well.
Yeah.
So if you're in Orlando tonight, you have tickets for that game. Good luck. Anyway, Jared, before we get to the callers, I know the Red Sox clubhouse documentary on Netflix dropped a couple of days ago. And how much of it have you watched, and what have been your initial impressions?
Obviously, I've seen all of it, Tony. You think I have a life? No, I've seen every single episode. Okay. It's fascinating. The behind-the-scenes look, I think it gives you an appreciation for the players and their lives and the things everything that you would expect that's in there, it's in there, plus more. And every sports doc needs an antagonist. So Tony Maserati plays quite the antagonist throughout the entire thing.
Really?
They cut to many. Oh yeah. You're quite it's you and Shaughnessy. Just like, and actually, I did a 2-hour sit down, and the only part that they used was me saying, "Don't be an idiot" about Duran, which is crazy, but that's a separate thing. I think Bayo shines in this. Duran, Casas. Breslow gets humanized, which I was looking for, because I think every time that he talks publicly, you're like, please spare me the Yale dialogue. Just give me the human being. I know he's in there somewhere, and you get to see that human being side of Breslow, and obviously Cora shines in this as well. I thought it was really well done.
Okay, so someone told me that there's a crack from me at the beginning, which I've heard, but you say that I am the antagonist throughout?
Yes.
Yeah, you're in there quite a bit, yeah. Quite a bit, Tony.
Oh, well, all right. Then I guess I'm going to have to watch the damn thing and see how they painted me. I'm sure it's
good
not
stuff.
Accurately, Tony. I think they painted you accurately.
I'm sure it's not very flattering. All right, well, that's good to know. Anyway, Frank in the car wants to speak with Carrabis. Go ahead, Frank. What do you got?
Hey, Jared, I think you're the biggest Red Sox apologist I've ever heard. To Tony's point, both teams played in 26-degree weather last night. So that's a lame excuse. And then when he asked you, what did you expect them to be after 12 games? You predicted them to win the World Series. So you thought 6 after 12 games? Makes no sense, man. Come on, you got to be realistic.
Okay, Frank's calling you out, Jared. What do you got?
I mean, it's a 162-game season. They were just 6-4, and they just played 2 games and lost those 2 games. I mean, it's what do you want from me?
So, Frank, Jared,
no team has ever started 6-6 and won the World Series. Frank, come on.
Is that true?
I don't believe that's true. It can't be
Red Sox can make history.
I think he's implying it's not true, Jimmy. That 6-6 doesn't eliminate them from contention.
Yeah. No, it's
just you've eliminated them from contention.
Calm down, Frank.
Let's go to Sean in Colorado. Sean, what do you got?
You being Maz.
Rock, it's Tony out today.
Sean, I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? You can't hear me?
Sean, you're breaking up. I'm going to put you on hold to see if we can find a better cell area, and I'll pump you right back up. Rich and Milbury on Brian Bale. Go ahead, Rich. Holy crap, you can't hear him either. I'll go back to those guys in a minute, but since he brought up Bale, what do we got on Bale? Jared, is he going to be? He was originally talking about the middle of April. Are we going to see him next week?
Yeah, I think he probably needs about 2 more starts before we see him. But I mean, it's kind of like, his rehab starts have been like looks good, and then he'll have like a bad inning. Like what he's doing in the rehab starts is very similar to what he was doing in the first half of last year. But I mean, I just want to see him healthy at this point.
And are you at all concerned about the pitching overall? So, for example, Houck goes out there tonight. He's going against Kevin Gausman, who has been historically tough on the Red Sox. I don't know if he was quite as tough on them last year as he's been in other seasons, but he's given them fits over the years. Houck has not looked good in his first 2 starts. So you tell me how important an outing for Houck, and given the fact that the last 2 games have gone the way they've gone for the Red Sox overall.
I think it's an important month. I don't think it's an important start. It's an important month for Houck just because, you go back to the second half of last year, and I know he made the All-Star team, but we're talking about 2.5-ish, 3 months where he was great, and the second half not so great. His spring, I don't know how much stock you want to put in that. I don't put a ton of stock in spring training numbers for pitchers, but it was atrocious, and a slow start already through a couple starts to open up this season. So, yeah, I think if he wants to kind of shake any criticism that it was instead of just being like, yeah, he had an all-star season last year, it's like, well, it was an all-star first half, the second half not so much, and he needs to kind of return to that form. I don't think you can do that. If he goes out there tonight and throws 6 innings and it's 2 earned runs and 7 strikeouts, it's like, okay, now do it again. I think it's an important month for him, not just one start.
Yeah, they got to find some sort of rhythm there in that rotation. I don't think there's any question. Sean in Colorado, let's try again. What do you got?
Hey, how's it going? You guys got me?
Yes, much better.
Okay, awesome. On the phone with 2 Netflix stars. Not quite guilt, but I'll take it. Just wanted to say, watching the Netflix documentary, one story that really kind of stuck with me as you guys have talked is about Brian Bayo. So I kind of have a 2-part question. The Red Sox have not to find that number 2 starter so far through 12 games. What are the odds Brian Bayo can step that number 2 hole? And what are realistic expectations for Brian Bayo going in through this season? Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Jared, go ahead.
Yeah, we had this discussion on the podcast recently in terms of, Garrett Crochet's the ace, but who's the number 2?
Right.
There are certain guys that can fill that spot, like Giolito we haven't even seen yet. Walker Buehler, I guess, could be that guy, but hasn't proven to be that guy in quite some time. Houck should have been that guy, but obviously he hasn't looked like that since the first half of last year. So the answer is it should be Brian Bayo. And what the expectations are for him, I would say 165 innings in a 3.5. Is that fair, Tony?
How many innings did you say again?
165?
Yeah, that's look again. So, Jared, here's how I look at that, and I don't know if you'll agree with me or not. But of those 3 guys, Bayo, Houck, and Buehler, 2 of them have to pitch well. And when I say well, I mean, we can put whatever numbers on it you want. We all know it can get, those numbers can get skewed by one bad outing or whatnot. But to me, 2 of those 3 guys have to be reliable and dependable for them to hit their ceiling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just, to me, that's what, 2 out of those 3.
Throw Giolito in there, too.
Yeah, so again, and I don't care who it is, but they can't all 3 suck. That can't happen and put that much pressure on Crochet. So listen, I'm sorry we didn't get to see you in person tonight. Jared is Zooming. He's remote, in case anyone didn't know. Feeling a little under the weather as well. So, Jared, hope you feel better.
Thank you.
And Celtics coming up next against the Orlando Magic. Pregame with Max and Grandy coming up next. And then the game against the Orlando Magic right here on 98.5. We'll catch you on the Baseball Hour tomorrow.